Let's go. Hello, folks. How are you? My name is Enrique Palafox, and I'm very glad to see you right here. I'm with my friend and partner, Dacre Stoker. Dacre, how are you?
Enrique, I'm just great. I'm here in South Carolina. It's a pleasure to be here at Dracula's Place, and it's a real thrill to be part of, this reading of Dracula in real time. And real time means, the same time as it was written, the same time that Bram posted the journals and the letters and so on. I can't remember, how many years have you done this?
This is the fourth year.
Okay.
Consecutive.
So the fourth year.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I'm excited, and as the great-grandnephew of Bram Stoker, representing the family, representing Bram Stoker's legacy, very happy to be here.
It's an honor to have you here. Can I translate to the Mexican audience?
Please do. Yeah.
Gracias, amigos, bienvenidos a Drácula's Place, un año más. Este es un año muy importante, estamos muy contentos. Como saben, yo soy Enrique Palafox y estoy aquí con Dacre Stoker, quien es el tatarasobrino nieto de Bram Stoker. Es un verdadero privilegio. Este año por fin estamos colaborando juntos y estamos lanzando la lectura en tiempo real de Drácula, la cual, bueno, empezó el pasado domingo, y Dacre va a estar haciendo comentarios en estas colaboraciones que estamos haciendo.
So, as we start, this has been the first week of the reading, and first of all, I hope you've all enjoyed the start of the book, and I'm hoping that many of you actually took the time to understand and read Dracula's Guest, because that's one of the really cool mysteries that's been sitting out there for over 123 years of, was this short story a part of the book? And both Enrique and I really believe, and many other scholars who have now seen proof, which I have, that it was part of Jonathan Harker's journey as he traveled from London all the way to Transylvania. And this short story, Dracula's Guest, happens in Munich on his day off, en route to Transylvania.
Aquí hay algo maravilloso y queremos compartirlo con mucha emoción porque, bueno, estamos hablando de la incorporación de Drácula's Guest al relato de Drácula. Como sabemos, el relato empezó ahora el pasado domingo, sin embargo, en la noche de Walpurgis se publicó el relato corto de Drácula's Guest, el cual se publicó en 1914 por Florence Stoker, ¿no? Y que precisamente lo que comenta Dacre es que ya tiene pruebas, ¿no? Porque ha visto a través de las notas, ¿no? de Bram, y sobre todo en la última investigación que hizo sobre su libro, ahí precisamente ya tiene pruebas contundentes de que precisamente están completamente ligados, tanto la historia de Drácula's Guest con Drácula, la novela.
So, before we go much further, I've got to explain one thing to all our listeners, and that is my interest about Bram Stoker goes probably much deeper than many of yours. I've been researching him for 15 years, and I started trying to understand what Bram Stoker wrote. But now I'm having a lot of fun figuring out why he wrote these certain things. So my perspective as we go through the reading of Dracula on Dracula's Place is you're going to get some of my ideas on the why. Why does an author choose certain words? What comes natural to an author to write certain things and write the way that he does?
That is amazing information. Esta parte es importante, gente, porque precisamente lo que nos está diciendo Dacre es que a través de la investigación que él ha hecho, no nada más entiende las cuestiones que inspiraron a Bram para escribir el relato de Drácula, sino que en realidad ahora ya tiene una perspectiva mucho más clara de las razones por qué escribió lo que escribió. Entonces, aquí el por qué es un poquito como el detrás de cámaras, ¿no? Que viene a partir de las notas, estas notas que, ojo, apenas se han ido descubriendo, porque recuerden que Bram tenía una letra terrible, entonces ha sido muy difícil de sacarlas todas a la luz. Entonces Dacre va un paso adelante, pues sabiendo precisamente cosas de el por qué y las razones de por qué Bram escribió lo que escribió.
So, one more quick thing before we get into this. Nobody really knows why Bram Stoker wrote things. We have to use the things he left us. He didn't write a story, this is why I wrote Dracula, but he left Dracula notes. He left a typescript. He left a journal. He left a different version of Dracula. I've been lucky enough to be able to take all this information, but also being able to edit a journal of his, as well as talk to his great-grandsons to get into the head of this man so I can bring you my opinion. I think it's correct, but we may never know unless we can connect to the paranormal and ask my great-granduncle. But for now, I'm the best you've got at the moment.
Esta parte es fundamental porque, bueno, no se asume que esta es una certeza absoluta, ¿no? Bueno, porque no se tiene contacto directo con Bram para saber exactamente, ¿no? Cuál es lo que estuvo detrás de todo lo que él escribió. Sin embargo, lo que dice Dacre es que, bueno, precisamente por la cercanía que él tiene con la familia, por haber hablado con ellos, por haber analizado las notas y precisamente por haber tenido acceso a todo lo que dejó Bram, ¿no? Como pedacitos, ¿no? De un caminito. Entonces, bueno, precisamente la perspectiva que él da es la mejor que se tiene al día de hoy, ¿no? La más completa, ¿no?
So to start with, Bram Stoker and Jonathan Harker are very similar in many ways. Jonathan Harker's journey from London to do legal work in a strange place, which was a country, Transylvania, that not many people know about. He didn't know if he was going to be received favorably or not. Bram Stoker did the same thing when he was the inspector of petty sessions of law clerks all over Ireland. He got to ride in trains, which wasn't common at the time, in carriages, and he went to faraway places, not quite as far, obviously, as Transylvania, but places where he would not necessarily be received as a friend. He was being received as an inspector, someone doing legal work. So a stranger in a strange place is part of the feeling that Bram had from his own experience as he wrote about Jonathan Harker going off into the wilds of Transylvania.
Wow. Y esta parte es fundamental. Resulta ser que hay un paralelismo bien importante entre Bram Stoker y Jonathan Harker, ¿no? Porque, bueno, pues ambos son abogados, ¿no? Que tienen que viajar. Recordemos que Bram, al haber pertenecido al teatro, se vio involucrado a viajar muchísimo, a escribir muchas cartas, a agarrar trenes, precisamente a saber de itinerarios y demás. Entonces, todo eso que le fue pasando en su vida diaria, en su vida cotidiana, ¿no? Primero como abogado, ¿no? Que trabajaba en estas cuestiones como mucho más burocráticas y ya después, ¿no? Como encargado del teatro. Entonces, todo eso lo fue retomando para la creación de su personaje. Entonces, hay un cierto paralelismo entre los dos.
So as Jonathan Harker is on this carriage now, he's got off the train, he's in the carriage in Bistritza. I saw in Bram's own journal that Bram wrote very specific things about other people in carriages with him, in trains with him. And so it makes sense that Jonathan Harker would be paying attention to this old lady who gave him the crucifix and to said things, warnings to him. And this would have been a very sort of natural thing. And so it comes from Bram's own personal experience, this carriage drive in the middle of nowhere. And he also chose the specific date of St. George's Day that is both recognized in the Orthodox religion of the time in Romania and also in the religions in England. So Bram was trying to make this story seem real by having holidays. Obviously, this was an appropriate one because it was when all the evil things will come out at night. But it was something that people could identify with in London, who were its primary readers, and something happening to Jonathan Harker while he was in Transylvania.
Okay. Mientras Bram Stoker viajaba también a lugares desconocidos, dice que de ninguna manera como Transilvania, pero bueno, en este paralelismo, ¿no? Y tratando de llevarle cierto realismo a su relato, ¿no? Bram fue tomando pequeños detalles de aquí y de allá de sus propios viajes, y iba tomando notas de eso. Entonces, notas que le iban llamando la atención, las anotaba él de sus propias experiencias. Entonces eso lo vemos muy reflejado, ¿no? Precisamente en este momento que Jonathan se encamina hacia lo desconocido, ¿no? Iba escuchando ciertas conversaciones en la carroza. Son cosas que le había pasado a él, cosa que le da relato, le da realismo al relato. Y ahí, para darle realismo, pues también agarra fechas importantes como la noche de Walpurgis. La noche de Walpurgis, que ya habíamos platicado de ella, y la retoma, ¿no? La mete a su relato para darle precisamente una certeza y una continuidad.
And the other thing that's a close parallel, for 27 years, Bram Stoker arranged all the matters, the working issues for the Lyceum Theatre, and that involved train travel all over Europe and also all over America. And Bram was very detail-oriented. I actually found a map that he drew about America, how long it takes to get from one city to another, so he could arrange people at the other side to pick everyone up. So all these train schedules, the boat schedules, the length of time it would take a carriage to get from one place to another, that was all very accurate. And it was because this is the type of person Bram is, but he wanted his story to have a feeling of reality, and that's why it was so appropriate to do it that way.
Yeah, and he should do that, obviously, because his way of being, but because of his terrible boss. I mean, to be in charge of the whole trip of it should be a quite a task.
And in those days, it wasn't just Irving and Ellen Terry, it was all the men working behind the stage and all the props, the boxes.
Company,
So everything. It was a massive undertaking to move everybody, and Bram, that was his job. So, okay, 50 boxes of dirt later on in the story, that's no big deal. But it was precise, no big deal.
Esta parte es importante porque precisamente lo que comentamos, Bram como gerente del Teatro Liceo, ¿no? Y a cargo de las giras, pues tenía que ser súper meticuloso, que él lo era, ¿no? Él era muy meticuloso en su trabajo, entonces tomaba notas de las distancias que había entre lugares, sabía de los precios y los itinerarios de los trenes, de los botes, ¿no? Para que la gente pudiera él tener un buen recorrido. Recordemos que él estaba a cargo de prácticamente todo lo que sucedía atrás del Teatro Liceo. Él se encargaba prácticamente de todas las giras, ¿no? Y recordemos que él estaba, aparte de ser muy meticuloso, pues estaba a cargo de la figura de Henry Irving, que era una figura bien imponente y además pues muy exigente. Entonces Bram lo tenía todo perfecto, lo tenía todo, ¿no? Y todo eso pues lo lleva a sus notas, que eventualmente lo recupera para el relato de Drácula.
And even in the story that we have just read, Jonathan Harker couldn't find a map in the British Museum, but let me tell you, Bram Stoker found 4 maps in the books that he was researching, and we've actually taken one of those maps and put them into one of our products on the Dracula store and circled Bistrica, the Borgo Pass. So Bram had the maps, even though Harker said he didn't. But Bram knew where he was sending everybody. He had it all worked out. Hope you enjoy those maps if you get a chance to look at these products.
Esta parte está padrísima porque precisamente Bram jugaba un poco dentro de su relato, porque precisamente en el relato Jonathan dice que no tiene acceso a los mapas, sobre todo de Transilvania, entonces que nunca pudo consultarlo. Sin embargo, y aquí hay un detalle pues interesante para nosotros los que nos gusta Drácula, precisamente de Dacre, es que él sí encontró que Bram tenía 4 mapas de Transilvania, y precisamente uno de esos mapas lo utilizamos en el diseño, ¿no? Que precisamente de Journey, donde viene todos los boletos y las cartas y toda la travesía. Precisamente el mapa de atrás, si se fijan, estamos hasta circulando dónde está el Borgo Pass, porque precisamente está muy cercano a la locación y es bastante real.
Now, on this carriage ride that you see Jonathan Harker on, which gets very mysterious when he finally gets to the Borgo Pass and he meets the coachman, and we'll talk about him later, but one of the interesting things that I have researched myself firsthand when I was in Romania this past September, in the same region of the Borgo Pass, and that's the myth of the blue flame. And My understanding is that all myths start with some kind of reality. So I talked to some of the locals in this part of Transylvania, up in the Kalamani Mountains, near this place that Bram Stoker chose to have his castle. And they said that the myth of the blue flame was really quite simple. It came from the sulfur deposits that are in this area, and there is a big sulfur mine very close to Mount Israel, that when there's fires started by lightning, and lightning starts the trees on fire, and the fires slowly go out, the sulfur on the ground keeps burning, and it burns blue, and it makes this smoke and misty blue flame. And then I said, well, what's the treasure that Dracula's looking for? He said, oh, the myth of the blue flame is that the sulfur is the flame, but we also have gold in the mountains. And the gold is usually found near and underneath the sulfur. He said the Dacian people found the gold, and they had to hide it from the Romans, who came and tried to conquer them to steal the gold. So that's the idea, that's the explanation of the myth of the blue flame that Bram Stoker used in this part of the book.
I love it, and the sulfur is very related with the devil.
Exactly. The sulfurous gases are referenced in the story. Harker feels nauseous and a little bit disoriented when he smells this sulfur gases. So it's all dialed in together with the devil and this myth of the blue flame.
Wow, wonderful. Esta parte me encanta porque Dacre tuvo oportunidad de estar en septiembre pasado en Transilvania, precisamente buscando dónde estaría la locación original del castillo, y entonces precisamente en uno de los lugares que visitó, ¿no? Habló con los locales, ¿no? Y se enteró de los mitos también locales alrededor, y uno de los mitos bien importantes que Bram retoma es el mito de la llama azul, esta llama azul que aparece en la noche, ¿no? Y marca la entrada de un tesoro. Entonces Dacre, precisamente estando ahí, preguntándole a los locales, preguntándole sobre las tradiciones, ¿no? Las tradiciones orales, precisamente le cuentan que ahí en la zona es una zona donde hay mucho azufre natural, de manera natural, y al mismo tiempo hay minas de oro que normalmente están relacionadas porque al parecer está como una capa de azufre donde está el oro. Entonces precisamente que cuando se generan fuegos en los bosques, ya sea por caída de rayos o fuegos naturales, el azufre también se prende, y se prende de manera azul, y de ahí precisamente se genera el inicio de este mito que Bram retoma. Y la parte, bueno, pues que hay oro, pues precisamente dice que cuando las hordas invasivas estaban por ahí, tenían que rescatar el oro y guardarlo por ahí. Precisamente una de las señales que tenían era la parte de la llama azul.
Now, if we know Jonathan Harker meets the coachman, and we're not really sure who that coachman really is because he displays some interesting things. But let's jump forward when Jonathan Harker actually arrives at the castle, and the Count comes out from behind this door. There's no knocker, there's no handle, in a sort of mysterious way. This Count, all dressed in black, holding his candelabra, holding a lantern, I think it actually is. This is really interesting because Bram Stoker describes the Count as all dressed in black from head to toe. He's not Bela Lugosi. He's not Christopher Lee. He's not in the dinner jacket.
Some guy.
Exactly. He is the man in black, and that's one of the things that you, Enrique, have as the artist here, have made sure we are inspired by this when we present our items in the Dracula store. I think it's very powerful. And this welcome that he gives is iconic now. Everybody says, welcome, enter freely, go safely, leave some of the happiness you bring behind. And I love the products that we've created with those things, but it's also such it's really a beginning of the story, and we realize it lines up with the very important superstition that the vampire has to be invited in, and he needs to invite in. And it's all comes in together, the welcoming of it. And I think it's just a wonderful part of the story. And I think that's a good place for us to sort of end our first video. We'll certainly do more. And please, folks, don't be shy. Ask questions, post them at Dracula's Place. Enrique can translate, or I can press the translate button I'll be willing to answer questions as we go through the next 6 months. Again, don't be afraid. I won't bite.
Wonderful. Esta parte es importante. Terminando el relato de la semana, Jonathan se encuentra con el conde. Es un encuentro increíble porque recordemos que el conde no es Bela Lugosi, no es esta persona hermosa, sino al contrario, es una persona cadavérica, vestida de negro y demás, que le da una bienvenida, y esta bienvenida significa el comienzo del inicio del viaje de Jonathan, ¿no? Porque en realidad alude a una parte del mito donde el vampiro tiene que ser invitado para poder entrar, o también tiene que invitar para que suceda. Entonces ahí es precisamente que invita, welcome, ¿no? Y le dice bienvenido a mi casa, ¿no? Y entra Jonathan Harker. Entonces esto, bueno, pues también es el inicio de una serie de videos que vamos a estar haciendo. Dacre nos pide favor que no tengamos miedo a hacer preguntas, ¿no? Que él siempre puede apretar el botón de translate, ¿no? Para que él conteste directamente. Él está contestando, él ya está administrando la página. Entonces, por favor, siéntanse con la confianza de hacer las preguntas que quieran. Él puede hacer eso, y si no, con todo el gusto del mundo, yo le traduzco para que precisamente en estos videos se puedan contestar todas las preguntas que ustedes tengan. Entonces, bueno, pues hasta aquí el día de hoy, ¿no? Hasta aquí llegamos con este video. Dacre, thank you very much.
Thank you to you too. Okay, everybody, be good.
It's a very honor to have you here. Thank you very much.
Very welcome. I look forward to the next 6 months.
Thank you.
Okay.
Chicos,
Bye, bye.
gente, gracias. Esto fue todo. Nos vemos la siguiente semana. Hasta pronto. Chao.